Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth Ross, and the topic that I've been assigned to is are air fresheners toxic to you? So I'm going to give you guys a presentation about it, and feel free to post any comments or questions or concerns that you guys may have about my PowerPoint. Okay, so what are air fresheners? Air fresheners are consumer products that normally we can go to our local convenience stores to purchase in Walgreens or a convenience store, or commercial products that are used in restrooms to remove unpleasant odors. Also, what they do, the purpose of them is to introduce fragrances into an open air space, and normally it's transcribed as droplets, and then they transition into vapor, or as the molecules of fragrance ingredients, they evaporate from that source. Fragrance blends into the air to mask a bad odor, or sometimes what they do is that they just create a pleasant odor. Where would we use these air fresheners? We would typically use these air fresheners in our homes to mask musky smells, or if we have pets, we would try to remove those odors. In our vehicles, we can sometimes purchase these air fresheners that we hang on the rearview mirror, or we could put them into our air conditioned vents. And in public locations, especially with frequent usage from the public, there's a lot of deodorizers and air fresheners that are added to cleaning agents. Now, air fresheners could be categorized into two broad categories. One, you have continuous action, where the air freshener that you're using have to be utilized for the entire duration of the air freshener. So until it completely dispenses, you have to continuously use it till the time ends, till it expires. So an example of this would be if you have scented candles or incense burners, the wall plugins, fragrance impregnated gels, the ones that you can sit down on a counter space and they're shaped like a cone, so you would have to turn it a little bit for the gels to eventually dissolve. And the newly emerging air freshener that people are currently using more is the wick and reed diffusers. You can look at the bottom of the PowerPoint there. You can see pictures of what that looks like. The second one is the instant action, and this is the one that we commonly use. These would be like the aerosol sprays. An example would be the Lysol spray. Certain brands such as Glade or Wick, they also create a lot of aerosol sprays. People tend to use these more often because they're actually a little bit more inexpensive than the continuous action air fresheners. And then you have the atomizers, and these are similar to aerosol sprays, but actually when you press the valve, it goes through an actuator, and that actuator goes into the spray nozzle, releasing the fragrance into the air. So it's a little bit different from an aerosol spray can, but they're pretty much the same thing. A lot of women perfumes or men cologne, they use an atomizer. Now, here's the most important part. What are these air fresheners made up? You have the ingredients. Mostly all air fresheners have these four basic ingredients: formaldehyde, aerosol propellant, p-dichlorobenzene, and petroleum distillates. And we're going to go into further detail about what each of these ingredients do. Formaldehyde is a colorless gas that has a pungent odor in its normal form, and it's an important precursor to many other chemical compounds, especially in polymers, and they're formerly used as disinfectants and preservation of biological specimens. Then, with the aerosol propellant, it's a type of dispensing system which creates aerosol mist of liquid particles, and they're also known as 1,4-dichlorobenzene colorless solid, and this also has a pungent odor in its normal form. And it's also used as a disinfectant, deodorant, and a pesticide. Okay, so all these things normally they're not really safe, but you find them in a lot of the basic air fresheners that we have. Now, also you can see at the bottom there, preparations when creating these air fresheners, packaging them, distributing them. Sometimes they go through these procedures where they're exposed to phosphates, terpenes like ketones, esters, and alcohols, chlorine bleach, and ammonia. The NRDC, they stand for the Natural Resources Defense Council, and they're very important because they're the one who pretty much introduced more investigation that needed to be done with air fresheners that can be toxic to our bodies. And what they found out was many of the air fresheners employ carcinogens, volatile organic compounds, and known toxins such as phthalate, which is just an ester, but it's a very dangerous ester that can induce liver damage, kidney damage, especially to young children. So, what the NRDC did was that they performed this study and they took 13 common household air fresheners and they found that most of the surveyed products contained these chemicals in them that aggravated asthma and affected reproductive development in pregnant women. So, due to this, this is where a lot of the investigation started to supervise and monitor manufacturers and their products. And what they did too is that they categorized the different air fresheners into three different categories: scented sprays, gels, and plug in air fresheners. Now, why is it toxic? This is just going to go into more detail about different ingredients that some air fresheners have, and some air fresheners don't have these. These are just additional ingredients that you may find on the back of the label. But just to quickly go over some, here you have the ethyl alcohol. A side effect of having that exposed to you would be causing flushing headache, dizziness, your central nervous system going into a depression. And if it's absorbed or inhaled, if it's absorbed through your skin, it can actually cause death. With the propellants, inhaling it can cause drowsiness, narcosis, asphyxia, cardiac arrhythmia, and frostbite. Pine oil, a lot of the air fresheners that are very oil based, they have a lot of pine oil in it, and this irritates your skin and mucous membranes. So, like your eyes, your nose, those things could be irritated, and they are also known to cause breathing problems. Large doses of it can also cause depression of your central nervous system. Okay, so once again, formaldehydes, I kind of briefly went over it, but in terms of side effects, it can cause irritation of your eyes and mucous membranes as well. Inhalation may cause headaches, a burning sensation in your throat, can cause difficulty in breathing. Now, phthalates, this is the one that's pretty dangerous. As I said before, it can cause damage to the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, and for young boys, developing of the testes. So these are all just a few of the dangerous ingredients that are found in a lot of the air fresheners. But something that's even more dangerous is that a lot of them are actually hidden under the general header of fragrance. And these are just ingredients that are not actually named on that label. So there's even more things that are in the air freshener that are not mentioned that could be potentially harmful to you. There are also some ingredients that contain oils that coat or impair your olfactory senses. So even if the smell is still prevalent in the room or the area that you're trying to remove the odor from, you won't be able to tell because it coated your olfactory senses. There are even some elements in there, some antimicrobial elements inside of these aerosol sprays that are classified as pesticides by the Environmental Protection Agency. Now that you guys know how air fresheners are toxic, the next question should be, now what do you do? There are some healthy alternatives to using air fresheners, and one of them would be the most common sense thing would be to remove the source of the unpleasant odor. If it's a trash issue, if it's something that is causing the odor, you would want to remove that source first before you try to use an air freshener to get rid of the smell, because it won't. The smell will just continuously be there. Then we have ventilation. Even when you do remove the source, you would like to bring in some quality fresh air to circulate in that space to entirely remove the odor from the room. And then you can change your cleaning habits. You can actually use simple cleaners such as white vinegar and baking soda, as well as some things called adsorbents like zeolite. Those are effective at removing odors. Okay, so if you decide that you don't want to use those things, you still would like to use your air fresheners, there's actually some important information out there that you guys can have access to that will give you content on how much this air freshener, particular air fresheners, have phthalates in them or even formaldehyde. So what I did was that I collected the handbook or the article that the NRDC actually published about the hazards that they found in air fresheners that they got from their study, and I attached it to this PowerPoint slide so that you can see for yourself here. You can either click on that or you can reference the handbook that I attached along with the PDF file of this PowerPoint. So the most important thing I want you guys to take away from this PowerPoint presentation is that air fresheners are not a solution for poor air quality, and cannot substitute for good ventilation. So if you would like to improve ventilation and if you would like to give yourself better air quality, the best thing would be to open your windows once in a while, circulate your fan, and remove the things that are causing the bad odors. So these are my sources, and if you guys want to check those out, you can. airqualitytips.com, nrdc.org, wikipedia.org, and that last link on there is the exact link to finding that article. So if you guys have any questions, please ask away. Thank you guys for watching.